Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, your go-to destination for all things iOS development and more. Today, we're diving into the exciting world of Web3 integration for your iOS app. And in this second part of the video, we will explore the Coinbase iOS SDK and learn how to seamlessly establish the connection between your SwiftUI app and the Coinbase wallet. So last time that we did all this setup for the Coinbase SDK, Coinbase iOS SDK, and we added deep linking, and also we added a config. And so today we're gonna go down to the next section, the establishing a connection. So we're gonna try use this code that Coinbase documentation already provided, and trying to create a connection to the Coinbase wallet. But before we begin, don't forget to show your support by hitting the like button, leaving a comment, and subscribing to the channel so you won't miss any of my future content. All right, so in order to do this, you pretty much just copy this code here. But since we're going to use SwiftUI and we're going to specifically using async away, so we have to make some modification to this code here in order to use it properly. And we're not going to have access to this log object as well, since that's more like a some code from this sample application there. So let's go back to the code and let's start to let's start to make some modification to this code here. So copy that. All right, so we're back here again. Let's paste the code right here. We're gonna see some issues, but that's fine. So then we can make some modification to this. So we're gonna do some, we're gonna keep the shared here. Oh, and also we want to import it, import Coinbase. So we want to keep this share right here, and we don't need a private here since we're inside this code. So we want to make a do catch actually. And we're gonna throw the error that we caught. And inside the do catch, we need to add a try away and with checked. I believe it's a throwing continuation, and then we need a continuation. Then inside right here, we want to call a dispatch queue .main .async. The reason we have to call this because inside this Coinbase wallet function, the init handshaking, there was a thing that you have to call on the main thread. Let me see if we can find that. Okay, so if you look at the send, which is right here, they have this UI application share.open. So this thing have to be called on the main thread. So if you try to run this just on the background thread, it's going to be complain or crash, I believe. So we're going to have to add that in there in order to call this. So inside there, you can technically just copy this whole thing and move that into the dispatch. I think everything, it can stay the same, except we're going to remove those log object since we do not need them. And I think here we can actually make some changes here. So if you have an account that we want to, actually let's remove all this here, start with our own things. So if you failed, of course, we want to continuation dot resume with throwing. So we're gonna throw this error, and we don't have anything to update the session status, so that we can remove that as well. And inside this success, we can actually add a check if let account. Otherwise, so if you have an account, we want to make sure we update the ETH address from the account. Please from the address. I believe it's from here, the account address. Oh, shit. Okay, so the account address. Then once we finish it, we want to continuation resume. We want to just returning a blank. So pretty much act as a kind of a completion block, sort of. And then I do not think we need anything from the response at the moment, but you can feel free actually to process that. But for our purpose, we actually don't need it. So, and I don't think, yeah, we do need a result in the account. Okay. So for the else statement, we want to just create a simple error, NS error, and you can say domain. I'm gonna say error dot Coinbase SDK. Code, we're gonna just give a 999 and the user information, user info, we're just gonna ns localize the description key, and then we're gonna give a custom message. We're gonna say wallet, Coinbase wallet is not valuable. And once you've done that, you can pretty much just throw this back. And that should be able to handle the connection there. But there's a few check and a few cases we have to handle it. In order to do this, we have to call the config. I believe we did not call the config right here. So we're going to need to call the config at the moment right before we're making a connection. And since we're making a config call here, we got to check because we don't want to call every single time. Because depending on what you're trying to do, for us, this is going to be called with a button press. So when you do that all the time, it's going to be causing issues in trying to call the config that has already been configured. So we're going to add a check here. So we're going to call Coinbase wallet SDK .is config. If it have not been configured, then we're going to call Coinbase wallet SDK config. And the callback is going to be a URL. And the URL is the scheme that you should use for your application. So in our case, we can just give a scheme called Coinbase SwiftUI // So that's going to be acting as a well, actually, let's check here. It should be the same thing as this right here. All right, let's use this. Remember that we added this URL type from the previous video, so we're going to use this scheme right here. So make sure they're all the same. And then once that's done, we actually want to potentially remove the session just in case, like a session reset, since we're re-establishing connection all the time. So we want to reset the session before we actually adding a new session into it, just in case something goes wrong. And for our demonstration purpose, we're going to be just force unwrap this. But in real production, you should probably safely unwrap to double check if this is not an optional. But for our purpose, we're going to stick with that. So this should be the code to allow you to make the connection with async way for Coinbase iOS SDK. So let's test that out. So I already have my wallet connected. Let me double check. Okay, so I made some mistake there, and looks like I need to make an adjustment on this URL scheme right here for this particular one. I do not need the colon and //, so you can just remove that and keep the same name. And then in the repo, you actually need to add this colon // for this URL. Then it should be able to run properly. So as we have a UI that is a wallet address, then show the ETH address right down below whenever it succeeds. So let's test this out. Let's run it. And as you can see, here's our app and the wallet address, the label, and the connect to Coinbase wallet button. So tap on the button and you open up the Coinbase wallet, which then will lead to this connection page. You can read through them and just tap on allow, which will deep link you back to your application and shows up your wallet address. So that's how you integrate Coinbase iOS SDK with SwiftUI into your app. And thank you for joining me today. And hopefully you enjoyed the demo. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated. And I'll see you in the future videos. Until next time, happy coding.